Alrighty, folks, we are back for the second half today, and this is going to be a very different and special second half. I hope you pay attention. There'll be no phone calls for the next hour. They'll take phone calls after 2 o'clock with questions. So please bear with us as Phil Hudock tried to explain to us some things that he and his friends have been working on for years that can literally change our lives for the good if we just move ahead with it. So I'm going to introduce my very special friend, Phil Hudock. And Phil, when you're ready, come on up.
What do we do? Okay. We're playing a little, what do they call it? Musical chairs?
Musical chairs, yes.
Okay.
I'll even hear the music.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
hear
we'll
that.
have music.
All right. Howdy, folks. Yes, we will not be taking phone calls. As a matter of fact, you can try to call in, but it ain't going to work because I unplugged it. But I'll plug it back in. It's funny, the other day, I actually accidentally turned it on, and right then there was a phone call. So I apologize for you folks who have been trying to call that 591-6993 number, okay, because that is only a magic jack for live streaming, which we do here from my house. This is the dining room. Over there's the other room. I'm going to tell you a bit about myself, and one of the reasons is in the movement for freedom, there have been some shysters, okay, people trying to make money, okay, and that's not good. So everyone's been taken advantage of at some point in time, and I want people to understand that no one's here to take advantage of you. The people that got involved in this, it was done from day one to be something done for the right reason, okay? And Butch, where did this country have its roots? Where did the country have its roots? It was really in the churches.
Yes, it was.
You know?
It's in the Bible.
Exactly, and I have a dictionary here. I want to just read a definition of it, okay, of right. And everyone should have, you all heard of Webster's dictionary, right? Okay, well, this is Webster's original dictionary.
No, we have those at the ministry, folks. If you want one, we sell those.
1828, Noah Webster, American Dictionary of the English Language, but it's an American dictionary, okay? Has something like 6,000 to 7,000 Bible scriptures that the definitions refer to. So our country was founded on the idea that there is a creator, there is, was, and will be, okay? He is in charge, and that he's given you something that man can't take away, inalienable rights. So that's what founded the country, okay? Those ideas. Okay, and they're actually incorporated into the early country. Over 100 years, they had Bible, they had Sunday worship in the Capitol. Okay, so you don't know your history, folks. I mean, none of us do. None of us truly know because we were brought up in a state system, not a system based on truth. Anyway, right. Here's right. Okay, right. Conformity to the will or to his law, the perfect standard of truth and justice. Okay, that's right. That's what this case, this arbitration is all about. That's what the people that became involved in this wanted to do something right, not just something for ourselves. For instance, today I'm actually going to follow. Yeah, I'll need that in a second. I'm going to follow this order. Why, how, and what. Okay? So we're going to have an hour, and then you can call and ask questions, and the next Bible study is when?
2 weeks from today.
Today's the 6th. It'll be the 20th.
2 weeks from yesterday. It'll be the 20th, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because we'll go back to Saturday. Yeah, we don't normally do this on Sunday. But I'll go ahead and we'll open it up for questions on the 19th.
On the 20th. Be 2 weeks, be 18th.
19th.
19th.
19th. 2 weeks. Is not the 4th? Was Saturday the 4th? That used to be, right?
No, Saturday was the 5th.
Okay, so it'll be 19th.
Folks, we're going to get this straightened out here right now.
Well, we get it all figured out. Don't worry.
There's a calendar behind you.
19th.
But a lot of people have questions, and so on the 19th, which will still give you time to opt in. So should you so desire? Okay, but I'm going to cover these areas in order: why, how, what, and the most important is why. We're in a society now that's thing driven. What's in it for me? Okay. That's why you can get all this junk mail that says you won. Oh, what did I win? Because they know a lot of people are just they're gonna jump on what? The question should be, why did they send me this? Why did this person in Uganda say that King Muckety Muck needs to send me, a fortune, and we need to work this out with my bank account? Okay, so the most important thing really is why you're doing this, and I would hope people do it for the right reason. Okay, not to flaunt it, not to rub it in people's faces, and certainly not to hurt people. Okay, people have been hurt enough.
Yes,
that's what this is about. This is about freedom. You shouldn't have to support anything you don't believe in. You really shouldn't. Okay, Thomas Jefferson said that. You shouldn't have to financially support something you don't believe in. Another definition here, folks. I'm sorry, I'm a teacher, and once I found out law was interesting and it wasn't all physics, up and down, and gravity and friction, okay, then a whole new world opened to me, okay? This is an old Black's Law Dictionary, 3rd edition. Okay, this was given to me by a lawyer. It was John Brown. That's a famous name. Mm-hmm. Actually, he was a lawyer in West Virginia, and when he went to Morgantown, he bought this, and somehow I ended up with it. Okay, Black's Law Dictionary. I think there are 9 editions right now. I have all 9, but this is the only. Well, I have 2 actual paper. The rest are digital. But I want to read you a word. When I heard about this term, actually it's a term, 2 words, riot-tenure, riot-tenure, okay? You won't find it in the current Black's Law dictionaries, okay? And here's why. Riot tenure, a system of land tenure where the government takes the place of landowners and collects the rent by means of tax gatherers. The farming is done by poor peasants, riots, who find the capital, so far as there is any, and also do the work. The system exists in Turkey, Egypt, Persia, and other eastern countries, and in a modified form in British India. After slavery, get this, after slavery, it is accounted the worst of all systems because the government can fix the rent at what it pleases, and then they place it on you, yeah. And it is difficult to distinguish between rent and taxes. Folks, you don't own hardly anything because you got to pay rent on it. Okay? And this arbitration is going to offer you something, because you won't have to pay taxes on things like unconstitutional wars, Planned Parenthood, abortions, that's property. How property. Yeah, you're not going to have to be a slave on your own property. That's what this is saying. Okay, they're not going to put, this term is not in. It's in up to, I know this one, which is the 3rd edition. And like I said, we're currently on, I think, the 9th edition of Black's Law Dictionary. So
I wonder how much difference there is between the 9th and this one.
Oh, yeah.
How Orwellian it got.
Right. If you can get your hands on that dictionary and this dictionary, okay.
I have the 4th edition.
Yeah. Do it because, they want to, with the stroke of a pen, eliminate our heritage, they just want control. They're control freaks. Okay. So, the founders, they said no king but what? King George? Was that what the founders said? No, it was no king but Jesus. Okay.
Oh, that's Trump. Oh, okay, go ahead.
So anyway, and just to let you know, that's Pastor Butch right there, and I want Richard to come over here. All right. I want you to stand right here, Richard. Put that on wide view. You're on wide view. Okay. A number of years ago, these three people and some others were upset that our names were in an international criminal database called Interpol. You see, you don't realize that when you go get a driver's license and they say your thumbprint is optional, okay, they map your face. And this, show it close now, okay? Yeah, this is Tea Party at the DMV. In other words, once I learned that you're responsible for what you do, that there's the sin of commission and the sin of omission, we actually had a tea party at the DMV. We said, and this is after we actually even drove 8 years without a driver's license, and the governor accommodated us and then took it back. You see, that's one of the problems. Government is not being constrained by the people, okay? They do what they want. And so they changed the rules. So we got an accommodation, they took it away, and I think Butch looks pretty good there. What do you think?
I'm the best looking one there.
He looks like a chipmunk. So, and I've got my new driver's license, okay? I'm Chief Huda. So, hey.
Tell them why we did that, by the way. Why we dressed up and they couldn't get a biometric picture of our faces.
Yeah. They actually do biometrics of you. In other words, they take your God-given uniqueness and they turn it into a number when they digitize it, and then that goes into facial recognition. Okay, so that if you're in China now, they can use that facial recognition. And so, we appealed to the governor. Actually, we got a state senator who helped us. He pulled in the governor and the DMV commissioner. They finally agreed, and it took some. You remember, they finally agreed after a bunch of people came to the Capitol with signs and everything.
Yeah, right.
Because when they see numbers, when they see one person, they're not saying one. They're saying about 1,000 for that one that shows up, because there are about 1,000 that won't show up. They might be of the same philosophical persuasion, but they won't show up. Okay, so at any rate, we got the accommodation, and we got regular pictures. We weren't like this after we got the accommodation. However, when that governor went to D.C. and we got a new governor, new boss, same as the old boss, he rescinded it. Didn't even tell us. So we went to get our non-biometric driver's license, which was actually a trip for us. You had to go to Charleston. You had to drive 3.5 hours instead of just right down the road here. Yeah. Okay. So when it was rescinded, we wrote a letter. He wrote a letter, Governor Tomlin, and said, "Dear Governor Tomlin, we had our religious convictions accommodated. Now you're not accommodating them. And you are letting cross-dressers cross-dress and women wear burqas, and you're not letting Christians who have a strong conviction, not a preference, a conviction. That's something you don't have a choice on convictions." Okay. He didn't answer us. Okay. As a matter of fact, that goes right along with this arbitration, because guess what? We went to them and they didn't answer us. They would, why? Because they had no answer.
He's a weasel.
And he didn't have it.
He looked like one too.
He didn't have it. So anyway, so we just decided, okay, we're going to make a statement. We're going to go to the DMV. We're going to hide our features. I wore makeup and contact lenses. I guarantee you that's the only time I wore makeup and the only time I've ever had contact lenses in. And so when I had my second one, I couldn't go with the makeup. So I don't know.
Well, I know they.
My mom says I look pretty good.
First
as an
time more
Indian.
feathers too.
Yeah. Now, this man right here is 25% Indian.
Yeah, I
Aren't
am.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am. So is he. Yeah.
Oh, he.
Yeah. He's
Well,
my.
What
he's my
brothers you
brother,
remember? You get?
But I will say this: they took about 20 pictures of me that day.
Yeah.
They said, "Will you mind removing your headdress?" I said, "No, I'm not removing the headdress.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not taking it off." And they finally took so the guy said, "Forget it, just give me the license."
Mm-hmm.
Well, I took the driving test. The lady with me had to take test over again, folks. Said they understood what we were doing, and they were not being opposed to us, were they? They were very friendly to us, weren't they?
No, state police, when they see my license, they love it.
They're very accommodating. I mean,
Yeah.
they really were.
The children loved it.
They did. They took pictures of us
Yeah,
with
want
them.
us to have a picture with their children.
So taking a stand, folks, may be inconvenient, but you can change things if you try.
Changes a lot when you got more numbers
Oh,
too.
Yeah. You can go now. So to whom much is given, much is required. I feel very blessed. I've had 3 cases in the West Virginia Supreme Court and won them. This actually wasn't a court case or anything. To me, we won. And we had 3 television stations there. If you're obedient, and all this wouldn't have happened if I hadn't learned in this book, which is. This is the rule book, okay? This is, by the way, in our arbitration, okay? We say we are heirs of the Creator, okay? Not citizens of the United States Corporation. And you want to be a citizen of a corporation? Go ahead. You've heard the term sovereign citizen. Well, you can't be a sovereign and a citizen. A citizen has ties or has a contract with something bigger, whereas a sovereign has no ties except God. Now, there is no pure sovereignty in man.
That's right.
Okay? You are answerable. Okay? So when the judge used to walk in the courtroom and he used to hold up the Bible, well, which they don't do anymore, the people stood in reverence to the 10 Commandments in the Bible. Okay? They weren't in reverence of a man in a black robe. So now it's totally upside down. Good is evil and evil is good and black is white and bitter is sweet and so we got a mess. We got a mess, folks. And you heard a lot of current events that can make you depressed. Mm-hmm. The current events, to me, that's a motivation.
Amen.
Every time I see a current event that is, I try not to get desensitized by all that we show, and that you could if you don't have God and you're trying to deal with the world, man, you in a bad place. So if you don't have your head screwed on right and you're doing this, this is a what for you, what can I get out of it, and it's not why. Okay, don't do it. I can't stop you. Okay, I can't stop you, but. For us, the why is not money. We're not charging money. This is the right thing to do, as the Bible says. So I guess that's probably enough why, unless anyone thinks of another why. I mean, believe me, I can talk. All right, well, let's get into how. Okay, before I do that. All right. This is a website. Oh, by the way, you should be taking notes, okay? You should be taking notes. You should have paper and pencil out. This is a website called Scanned Retina, and this arbitration award and action and settlement we're calling Treaty of Peace, okay? We're not going to war against the government with this. This is peaceful, okay? We're just saying, here's the rules. Here's what you're supposed to do. Here's what we feel we have to do, and that's it. As a matter of fact, if anything I've ever been involved in, besides probably wearing a headdress, it is a statement, is something I've done that hopefully will help others, okay? This arbitration could force the government to start doing the right thing. You follow me? If they look at this and they say, wait a minute, what if everybody does this? Our system's going to collapse. Well, guess what? It should collapse because it's unlawful and it's getting worse. If you look at our current events, and how long we've been doing this, Butch? 20 years?
20 years or longer.
Yeah. If you look at the current events from, say, 15 years ago and compare them to the current events today, there's no comparison.
In fact, some of the things Butch talked 15 years ago about is happening today.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. And the reason I'm giving you this is because I have a website, whodoc.info, and I'm having problems with it. I spent hours last night. I'd add something and two things had disappeared. I have no idea why, but Scanned Retina is a website where the person he has the servers right there. Okay, this person is a little bit more wealthy than I am, so he can afford to actually have everything in house, which makes it much harder for them. So if my whodoc.info site doesn't work, do a search and just do search of Scanned Retina, Treaty of Peace 2020. It will take you right to his website and the articles and all the documents that are on my site. Okay. There's a new document on the website. It's called Summary of the Whole Process. I think it says something like from beginning to end. Okay, and it's only 2.5 pages. A lot of people want to know what's going on here, and it really is very simple. It's just that our minds have been conditioned not to go there. Okay, our minds are conditioned for instance, let's take politics. Okay, we're under the mind control of if you vote third party, you're wasting your vote. Now, who wants to waste your vote? You shouldn't want to waste your vote. You know what I mean? So I'm a member of the Constitution Party. I've been on the ballot for Senate and governor, and I am going to run for sheriff, which is going to be interesting because he is the supreme law enforcement officer, and which is going to have some. I hope he do some good there. Okay. At any rate, where was I? Y'all supposed to keep me on
that.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a document that you can read, and seriously, folks, go to the documents. No one's going to walk you all through this, and it isn't going to happen. It can't happen. Okay, I decided to show you something. I know this is a little crazy, but this box, which I just weighed this morning, had to get my scale back from my daughter, and Butch, you held it. This is 35 pounds of documents. There are no duplicates in here. This goes all the way back to 2015. You don't need to go all the way back to 2015. You could actually do it before on my website, but I had to take that off because you just crashed my website by trying to, people trying to read these documents. This is the paperwork that really ended up, being this.
You can't see your head.
I'm cutting myself off?
Yeah, your head isn't up there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here I am. 35 pounds, folks. And you don't have to go through any of this, okay? But I'm just saying, this is what was done by some people that spent a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of money, and but guess what? I am my brother's keeper. To whom much is given,
Much required.
Too much. Right.
Much
So I'm giving you this, okay? That's my requirement, is to give it to you. So, okay. So here's this new document that goes through the summary of the whole process. It doesn't go back to 2015 in West Virginia, but that's really where it started. Okay. The United States federal government throughout our history stepped outside the bounds. Okay, and there's There's what's called ultra vires, or the Clearfield doctrine of the Constitution, and therefore stepped outside their sovereignty and entered into the realm of a private man. Okay, they were supposed to be servants, and they don't have standing anymore because they broke their contract. In other words, if you have a contract with someone to do something like cut your grass and clean up, and the person comes and cuts your grass but doesn't clean it up, or in some way violates the contract, okay, then guess what? You can say, the contract that I'm going to pay you for doing that is over. It's over, okay? The government can't break the contract, but they did. How did they break it? Well, they delegated authority that was given to them to somebody else. You can't do that. You can't say, the people can't say, or you can't promise to the people that you're going to be in control of the currency, but then you turn it over to a private entity called the Federal Reserve, okay, who charges you interest on your own money. I mean, it's one heck of a racket. No wonder it's never been audited.
And they're writing the laws for the government.
Right.
So.
Right. So anyway, should I really have to explain that? No. Second paragraph. In that sense, it is an acceptance of a counter offer. Okay. In other words, you can go into the arbitration process now. When the other side has failed to live up to their contract, you have proofs that you say that entity, in this case, we're just talking government and people. This is not, what we did here has nothing to do between people, like husband and wife having a problem, okay, or you and your neighbor having a problem. What's here is not going to help you on that. This is simply your interactions, what has happened between you and the government, okay? This was a man-government arbitration, okay? So anyway, in a sense, what we did then, okay, was to decide in a conflict between entities. And so what we did was we gave them an offer, a counter offer, and said, okay, well, you messed up. Okay, so you say to the person who was cutting your grass and he's not cleaning up the grass, and you say, listen, we're going to have to work this out. You're not cutting the grass. We're going to make some other kind of deal here because, you're not taking the grass out. So, maybe you can still cut the grass, but we're going to change this contract because I'm not going to pay you for taking the grass out because you're not doing that. Okay, so there was a counter offer between the five people who entered into this arbitration and said, okay, here's our offer. And as a matter of fact, when you do that, you can decide what law form you are going to go under. And we said, we don't really like this law form that we're under, that you've created, this corporate law form. And that's what it is, folks. It's a corporate law form. How can a government be a corporation and be by and for the people? A corporation is a corporation unto itself. Who do corporations want to please? The corporate board.
Holders.
Yeah, So anyway, we're heirs of the Creator. Okay, and we said, listen, first of all, you didn't answer us on 573 things where you broke the contract, and they didn't answer. All they had to do was say. They could have done a lot of things. They could have asked for an extension. They could have, they could have said, "No, you're wrong," and we disagree. Well, they didn't disagree. They didn't answer. Okay, so then we were allowed to come up. We came up with a counteroffer, and they didn't answer again. Okay, I guess they thought we would go away.
You say they. Who you talking about?
I'm talking about the president, the Speaker of the House, the Senate, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Okay, these people were actually served either in hand by a process server in Washington, D.C. Actually, that's what we did the first time. In other words, they actually went and we had someone hand them the things and do an affidavit that, proof of service. Okay. After that, we used certified mail, and we had a notary at Elkins, at Davis Trust, who served as a third-party third party, so that they had to send things to her so that we would have proof that nothing was sent back. Okay, so we had a third party, a notary, who could document that nothing was returned. Okay, so very simply, three times actually they were contacted, and like I said, it was Trump, Roberts, Hatch, Ryan, Pelosi, Whitaker. When things got changed, for instance, Pelosi wasn't originally Pelosi; it was Ryan, but then she was his successor. So then we had to, when they changed, we switched. Okay, so basically, we said then at that point that we accepted that you were government, and you proved to us, and they didn't. All those 573 points, they didn't prove that they were within their contract. Okay, so therefore, we went into arbitration. Okay, if the government can't do what they're doing, they should have no problem producing under oath, under penalty of perjury, and under liability. Okay, so they couldn't do that. They didn't do that. Okay, so like I said, we had a counter offer. This is how we can settle this thing, since you're not even providing the proof or even answering this. Okay, and that's as fair as you can get to go to arbitration then, which is that's how the Bible does things. See, we did it the same way that this law form works. Okay, it says you have a problem, you go to the person you have a problem with. So we have a problem with the government. We were interfacing with the government, but we were having a problem with them. So we went to them and we said, "There's a problem." Okay, 3 times, and they didn't answer. Okay, so anyway. And so, basically we said that we were going to take this case on behalf of all the people. Okay, and this is very important. And there's a Latin term here in this document, which is, I'm not going to read it. You can go to the document and read it, but it's Latin, and to me, Latin's Greek. Okay, I was hoping I'd get a laugh out of that.
Yeah.
But it means on behalf of the king and yourself. Okay, and we are to be the kings of our own castle. My house is supposed to be my castle.
Right.
That's what we broke away from King George, and we all became kings, individual kings. Okay. So basically, with this, after this counter offer, we did a private dispute resolution. So the first was proof of claim, second was counter offer, third was we offered them a private dispute resolution. We said, okay, let's settle this. Okay, so we gave them an offer to settle. We gave them 10 days, and they didn't settle. So the remedy was for us. We felt, well, we've got to, we can't interface with them. How can we interface with someone that breaks the laws and they won't answer our
concerns?
Our concerns, our their breach of office, our fundamental First Amendment petition for redress of grievances. Okay, they wouldn't do that. So we, and by the way, in the Bible, here's arbitration. Really, it's Matthew 18:15. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained a brother. But if he chooses not to hear thee, then take with 1 or 2 more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. Okay? So, you get a neutral party. If he shall neglect to hear thee, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican. Okay, so basically, we just have to we just have to have immunity and not deal with you. We can't deal with you. We try to deal with you. We can't deal with you. Okay, so the arbitrator agreed in the award that yes, you can't interface with them. They won't. They won't do what's right. So you do what's right. And like I said, right in the Webster's Dictionary is this right. Okay. So the arbitrator makes an award and says, issues an award. And of course, they wouldn't show for the hearing with the arbitrator. So 3 times they didn't respond to us. Then they didn't come to the hearing. So basically, they said, we're not going to show. You just do whatever. So the arbitrator said, well, you win. And here's what the government has to do and settle with you. They're going to have to settle with you now. Okay? And the things that are, the way it's settled, okay? Once the arbitrator issues the award, this is under United States Code. This is law. Okay? We're not doing anything unlawful. As a matter of fact, we're using their code. We're using their process. Okay? We're using their arbitration. And by the way, this is a bill where they're trying to get rid of arbitration. Sponsored by Hank Johnson, the guy that feels that Guam might tip over. Yeah, he is the head sponsor of this bill to get rid of arbitration. Okay.
He actually said that.
I know. Go figure. Okay, real quickly, the summary of the bill. This isn't all the things. As a matter of fact, there's one thing that's not here that a lot of people have asked me about, and I've got it here that I want to read. But number one, there's to be a rapid opt-in process, and it's supposed to be simple. Okay, the government's going to have to come up with a way to opt in and make it simple and make it quick. There's to be an unconditional release and setting at liberty of the beneficiaries. Okay, you're going to be free, released from government harassment, from government interaction. Beneficiaries are, as defined in the bill, all Americans that opt in, and includes their immediate family minors. For married couples, both adults need to opt in, which then includes their children. Okay. Husband and wife, according to the Bible, become one when they become married. Makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, they're supposed to work as a team. If you're a husband or wife that's fighting over custody of a child, this arbitration is going to help you. But if you have a child that was entrusted to you, either through adoption or by birth or whatever, and the government, CPS comes in and takes them, and CPS sometimes they do good work, but it can be child trafficking. Okay, I'm going to just say that outright. And this can help you. You can get your children back, but and if you have adult children, they're going to have to opt in themselves because it's free will. They have the free will. Your minor children do not have free will, and they are automatically opted in. All right. Any case past or present is void. Any case past or present, not future, past or present. This settles things up to the now when the bill is passed. Okay, I'll talk to Bill about how a bill happens in a minute. Beneficiaries are to receive immediate and unconditional indemnification. Beneficiaries are to receive immediate and unconditional immunity. You'll be like a diplomat. What does this country do if they have a problem with it? What is the most they can do with the diplomat if they have a problem?
Ship him out.
Ship him out. That's the only thing they can do. You opt into this, and you create a class 1 felony worthy of the death penalty. Okay, the only place you can be tried is in the Supreme Court. That's what this bill is going to be about, and the only thing they can do is just make you leave the country. I don't know where. I guess maybe you get to pick where you're going, but that's the only thing, because you've really harmed someone. There should be a remedy for that. Yes. Okay. There is immediate issuance of necessary documentation of indemnification and the immunity for the beneficiary. In other words, if you're going to be hassled all the time, and have to let's say they pick you up, they take you in, and then you prove that you have immunity. It's going to be kind of tough. So you're going to have documentation that you have on hand at all times that says, do not detain, do not harass, do not engage, do not interface. Okay, the same as a diplomat. Okay, that's how it works. Return of all property and assets that they've taken from you. Okay, now this doesn't have to do with someone that sued you for damages. Okay, that's a personal. This is arbitration between the government and you. Okay, all records and system of records other than the provided diplomatic status are to be expunged and destroyed. So the only thing they're going to keep on you is that you are an immune person. That's it. Immune man. I don't like the term person. There's a problem if you understand words and wordsmithing and what they do. Okay. For instance, when we did Tea Party at the DMV, here's what happened. Well, actually, before this, when we got our non-biometric, the state told us, guess what? You do not have to have a driver's license, okay? And we will keep a paper copy of your driver's license in a database, but you will be immune from having to have a driver's license.
Mine does have a star. I didn't know. Go ahead.
Okay. So basically, what it was, we were outside the database, so they just kept a paper copy. So I guess the correlation here is this. They're just going to keep a documentation that you have this indemnity, that you have this unconditional immunity, okay? Other than that, they can't keep anything on you because that would be, it's just something we want out of the arbitration, is that we don't want you keeping records on us, okay? You don't have the license to do, we're not giving you the license to do that, okay? A land patent will be issued. Title in fee simple and absolute possession. It allows you to leave it to your heirs. Under a land patent, it is free and clear from government obstruction. It must be issued, we're saying that it must be issued by the Land Patent Office and not the Bureau of Land Management. Okay? That way you're actually going to own your property. Okay? Right now, do I own this property? Well, no, not really. If I quit paying a rent, I lose it. It's that simple. They'll sell it. They'll take my property. Well, how can they take it? Well, because I'm really renting it.
Sure.
So that's what the land patent's about. Also, an accounting and return of any and all accounts of any nature, shape, cause, form, kind, and held or managed by any entity and emanating from the beneficiary. Understand this. The federal government, we actually started in West Virginia. We ended up at the federal government. It turns out, if you study the structure, the corporate structure, okay, the states are just instrumentalities of the federal government. They're not sovereign states anymore, folks.
True.
Okay? WV is West Virginia. It used to be WVA. But we went to a federal classification of zip codes. Pennsylvania used to be PENN. Now it's PA. Why? Because you're now an instrumentality of the federal government. So just a little education for you. One thing that isn't in the summary that people have asked, and Steve, who asked this? Well, anyway, it's been asked. My mind's a little, it's been crazy for me lately with this thing, folks, but that's fine. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, okay? But this is in the bill, and it's Section I, and that's on the website. There shall be no effect or effect, Butch asked me, to any payouts based upon extraction of funds from the labor of the parties or beneficiaries, including but not limited to Social Security, Medicare, or pensions. You see, they didn't give us something. They took from us and said, we're going to give you this. So we're saying, wait a minute, this contract where you already took stuff, unless you're going to give me everything back right now, okay, with interest, because I'm interested, okay? So, you know, a lot of people want to know that, and that's only fair. That's only fair that you keep what they took from the sweat of your work, okay? That's real important. All right, so, I've gone through what happened between us and the government. I went through what arbitration is, third party. It is lawful. It's a National Arbitration Act, okay? That they're trying to get rid of the National Arbitration Act. That it was in the Supreme Court and passed a test. And Kavanaugh wrote the. I think I got that here somewhere. Kavanaugh wrote the opinion where they were trying to test it in the Supreme Court. So it is real. We did win. How is it enforced? That's a big question. I got 12 minutes to do enforcement. Okay. All three branches of the federal government could enforce this. It could be done through the Supreme Court. It could be done through Congress. It could be done through the President through executive order. Of those three branches, the actual most powerful branch, you've heard of checks and balances, but that doesn't mean that they're all equal in power, okay? The legislative branch is the highest court in the land. The legislative branch is the highest court in the land. That's in Blackstone's commentaries. That's what our system is built on, okay? Now, to me, the most corrupt branch of the government is the court system.
Amen.
Forget the court system. It is an immediate extraction from you of your money. You go to court, you pay. You pay court costs, you pay penalties, okay? Congress, they're crooked too, but they get their money from lobbyists who get their money from you. So at least there's a middleman for Congress, okay?
Makes you feel better, don't it?
Yeah.
Now the president, he's really supposed to be the least powerful, but he's accumulated powers that he shouldn't have. Everyone's operating outside their sphere of lawfulness, okay? And so at this point, the president can use an executive order. You can go to Congress and get a bill on the private side, okay? And I want to show you something. This is the congressional record from 1838, and this is just 2 pages of it, okay? You see here, are we on close on the camera?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
okay.
I got it.
These are all laws, okay? These ones here that you don't see anything written, these are called private laws. These up here are called public laws. Public laws are applicable to all of us, to everybody, okay? Well, it could be a public law about a certain segment of, but these are public laws, okay? And the ones down here and the ones you see on this page, this is just the first 2 pages of 1838. These are all private laws. They don't tell you what they are. Why? Because they're private, okay? They don't have to tell you how they corrected a problem. Private laws are simply this. Joe has a problem with the government. He goes to his representative. He says, hey, I don't have right of way to my property because you've declared this a national park. and you're not allowed by law to keep someone from getting to their house. That's happened in this state, where people couldn't get to their house because the DNR put up a gate on the road, but you were supposed to have access to your house. Okay, it was still your house, but it just happened to, for you to get there, you had to go through a state, let's say a national forest road or whatever. Okay, so Joe goes to his representative and says there's a problem, and they write a bill and say, yeah, you know, we're going to pay you for the damage, and we're going to correct this situation. So you can go to Congress, and we have. I got it here, but I'm just running out of time. We have
take what you need, Bill.
a 20. Yeah, we have a 2016 arbitration that we got that isn't posted. If you go try to find it, some of you are saying, "Well, I'm trying to find that 2016 thing." Well, guess what? They don't have to post that. But we have a copy of it from the government printing office that went to the people who were involved, and they got immunity just like we're asking. Okay, they got released from prison because guess what? No one has been lawfully imprisoned, okay, incarcerated. No one in this country has been lawfully incarcerated for a long, long time. Because guess what? The courts are way outside of their jurisdiction. So they should have been nullified right then, okay? But no one forced it. So hopefully what we're doing is going to be some good, not just for the ones that opt in, okay? So that's what we're going to do. We're not going to go to the court system. Forget the court system. You go in there, you're going to lose, especially at this level. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you this. Okay, this is evidence of a crime. This is a crime that was committed on Friday, right here in Randolph County. I went to the federal courthouse to file the award, simply on the public record. I said, I want this award filed. Okay? We told everyone we were going to file it, and we are going to file it. They're not going to get away with this. Okay? But I went to the courthouse, spent 3.5 hours when it should have taken 10 minutes to do this. And the whole story, actually it's not on there but it will be. Okay? Look for thwarted at federal court. Okay? They took my documents, wouldn't give them back to me. That was theft. They altered documents. That's a felony also. Okay, and I sent a letter with proof of service to the head person in Wheeling, told her what had happened to me, that they failed to file it. At first, she has filed, but she put it in the wrong. She filed it as a civil case, and it's not a civil case, it's an arbitration. But it's an order that can be filed into the court record. That's all I wanted. She didn't do that. She put received. I was to get documentation so that I could send it to Trump and to all these respondents, and she wouldn't give me the other documents for me to send to him to show that it should have been or would have been or could have been filed in the courthouse. She said they have to look over it and decide. Okay? That's the little game they play, that the judge gets to decide, well, should this be allowed in court? That's not his job. He's a referee. Okay? But they will say, guess what? The Constitution doesn't apply in my court.
That's right.
Is that right, Butch?
That's right.
You heard that.
I heard that.
You said it to
On
Butch.
me.
He said it to you.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, the Constitution does not apply in my court. So guess what? We're not going to the court system, but definitely this is going to get straightened out, or there's going to be some real serious filings in that court because of theft. They stole my property. Wouldn't give it back. I asked for it back. I can't give it back to you. What do you mean? Those are my papers. I'm sorry, I can't give it back to you. Okay? She whited out. The reason you can read this, it was whited out and then she re-stamped it. You can't do that. And I took a picture. I got a really bright light and took a picture with light through the paper just to show you of hampering with a document. Okay? You can't do that. So, the bill is on there. I read some of the things that are in the bill. Will we get all those things? I hope. I don't know. We go there and we get a settlement. We demand a settlement. We demand it. That's what we're asking for. Okay. There's also the route of the executive through the president and executive order. Personally, I'd like to see that. I'd love to see that. And the man who was sitting in this chair just 6 weeks ago or 8 weeks ago, Jonathan Alexander, is on the President's Council. He meets with President Trump, and he is an attorney for the Liberty Council, and they're the ones that are taking the Kentucky case of Kim Davis, because they're going after her. They're taking the case of the person who filmed Planned Parenthood with the body parts.
Troy.
Yeah. So they're a good organization. I think they will see what's in this, especially if you're a Christian. This should be a no-brainer. Okay. And hopefully if you don't think that there is a higher power, and you don't think that you are responsible for what you do and what you don't do, okay, this is important, I think, and I hope you realize that this shouldn't be something done for anything other than good. Do it, use it for good, for you,
Amen. For
your friends, for your neighbors, for the country. Okay, be free again. Taste freedom.
Wonder what it tastes like.
I think it's like cheesecake.
I think so.
Yeah, cheesecake.
I think it's just like a big bowl of cherries and just with.
Well, I was born to simpler times. There wasn't the hate and wasn't the crime. Many a father died in the fight. For freedom was precious, our God-given right. So where did my country go? The land that I used to know, the home of the brave and the land of the free. Oh, how did it slip away from me? How did it slip away? God and country guided our lives. Men were faithful and honored their wives. I live in a dream world, you might all say. It isn't delusion, I remember those days. So where did my country go? The land that I used to know, the home of the brave and the land of the free. Oh, how did it slip away? How did it slip away? What if the Shakers and Quakers were mad? By the blazing guns of the BAT like Ruby Ridge and Waco's fire. through the FBI's twisted desire.